World of YouTube, true crime, a therapy, site, and everything else. Tonight I would like to go on the everything else and pay some respect, pay my condolence, give a bow as the Chinese culture gives to the one and only Miss Bruce Lee's daughter. And I would like to add in her defense, I can't even say this man's name, Quintino, and his rude remarks about, to me, and I'm sure I can speak for everybody else, one of the greatest men to ever step foot, kick a foot, even lay down the meaning of ass whooping, can of it. That's right. That man, to me, got me to win a lot of fights, watching his movies, learning what I could, just studying him on television. And for this quarantine, or whatever his name is, or whatever it is, like I say, whatever his problem is, talk about, actors in Hollywood. I guess he came out with a movie, and Brad Pitt, and a look-alike, of course, Bruce Lee actor, literally plays in the movie, and Mr. I just call him Quarantine. Because I don't care. You know what? I never was really into this guy's movies. Of course, I think he's the one that directed Pulp Fiction, stuff like that. I think he did the movie recently with, not recently, but Kurt Russell. Death Squad, I don't know what the hell it was. I was watching some of that movie and I wasn't, I mean, I'm a huge Kurt Russell fan. But he got in that movie and, to me, wasn't that great. It's not because of Kurt Russell. Of course, it's because of the director or writing or whatever he does. And he's not that great. Even though he has a cult fan pretty much following him, fan base. But when you call Bruce Lee straight up asshole, like this man did, and didn't grow up in that time and era. Meaning that's what, hey, Bruce Lee probably, I can honestly say, and I can speak for his daughter too, he had to be one of them tough, guys, because right back in them days, racism, they didn't like the black man, they didn't like the Chinese man, they didn't like the gooks, Vietnam, sorry if I'm saying that wrong. But, hey, everybody had a problem. If you wasn't American, if you wasn't white, you come over here and start showing your stuff. You know what? It takes one to know one. That's it. And I'm sure Bruce Lee wasn't that on purpose. That man, I'm sure, was the nicest man you could even imagine of until you got in that ring, until you got on that mat, and then all hell broke loose. And right, he changed a lot in history. You teach who he wants to teach. And correct me if I'm wrong. If he was an asshole, I don't think he would have done that. I teach who I want to teach. Right? That's it. He'll teach who he wants to teach. If he was an asshole, he wouldn't teach nobody but his own, or, you know. He wouldn't have done this, what he did. He wouldn't have done that, take on America. You know, not take them on in the bad way. Take them on and let me teach you our culture. And that's exactly what he did. And because of the wars of the past, because of the racist crap and BS, that's right, nobody wanted him here. And you know what? When I learned about Bruce Lee losing the role in Kung Fu, David Carradine, and I never knew that. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of David Carradine either, because he kind of reminds me of that type of a-hole. That David Carradine, he reminds me of a guy with an ego. I mean, whether he did it with, you know, because they wanted him to play a good villain, or if he was straight up that way in real life, he was the one that kind of, And when I found out he took that role, man, it was like, wow, what the F is this? That was a shocker to me. And then you got the Green Hornet. And that didn't go on too long. Why? Because that man was too great. That's right. He was too great, and they didn't want the greatness to be all on him. And for this quarantine tornado, I don't even care, man, whatever his friggin' name is. He's a dipstick. To sit there and ridicule a man that can't even defend himself. And at that, he changed things when he came here. And if a friggin' 8-year-old kid is myself, 8 years old, I could say a little younger than that too. Because actually I used to watch Kung Fu theater. And that was the late 70s. And of course everybody in the Kung Fu fighting. So, way beyond. And to find out that man, you know, sucks that he died in the year I was born. But I take honor and pride in that to myself. To be born around that man and legacy, because that's a year I cherish as, hey, a year that, you know, someone who had passed, who changed the world and changed the history of martial arts. You know, that's an honor. And it sucks to say there was a life lost, but hey, there's a life here to keep his legacy to be never forgotten. You know, me ain't no different than a damn Native American. That's right, in their legacy here. You look at them Chinese, man, they got them warriors and they got them evil spirits just like Native Americans. But if you can surpass all that, and I mean, that's another whole story of its own. Him and his curse. But, hey, whatever. I think this Quentin Cotorni needs to really shut his mouth. And, you know what? For someone to call an asshole, to, sit there and ridicule a man And this guy changed history just like Black Sabbath changed heavy metal history. And just like Run DMC and Aerosmith changed the rap and rock industry. Right? Ain't no different than Bruce Lee changing the martial arts industry. Give credit to that man where credit's due. And for this dipstick, hey, back then they talk about him and a stunt man, Bruce Lee. Well, think of this. Here we have people that, was jealous because Bruce Lee's better than them. And if he's doing stunts and screwing them up, and Bruce Lee, I'm for damn sure, took his time, kept his cool. But if someone's not listening, and if that person is arrogant and disrespectful, which probably that guy was, not Bruce Lee, that's right. That's why he probably got mad and acted back. That's right. You can't put this all on Bruce Lee being an a-hole, because that man had stunts. He did a lot of his own stunts, and you had to be in his marker so you wouldn't get hurt. But when you got them arrogant tough guys, and I've seen a lot of, there's one YouTube channel, I forget, I should throw his name up, but he shows a lot of Bruce Lee fights. And stuntmen and everybody that used to say, oh, I'll kick your butt. He's nothing. And when they got up there and had their chance, wah, whoa, whack, right on their ass. That's it. There's no stopping this man. He was legit. And for this numbnuts here to, be arrogant in himself, how about he take a look in the mirror what an a-hole looks like? Because you don't sit there and ridicule someone that changed history. And Bruce Lee rightfully changed history. Because he brought his culture here. And he, what a bastard. And he brought his culture here. And he shared it with us. That's it. That's the end of the story. There was no a-hole. A-holes don't do that. A-holes keep to themselves, and a-holes wouldn't share their culture with nobody. Nobody. So you think about that, Quentin Tornado. If Bruce Lee was rightfully an a-hole, he wouldn't have shared his culture with us. And he wouldn't have brought us together like he did. That's right. That's not an a-hole. That's a man changing history. Bear with me. So anyways, as I was saying, I'm going to get rid of that other picture. We're going to sit here. We're going to give tribute and honor to Bruce Lee's daughter here. I wish I could bow to her, shake her hand, and thank her for, being related to a man who changed not only martial arts, but the history in the world. To bring people together, to bring people to what he believed should have been taught, and to bring something here that he made of his own genuinity, his own legacy, his own legendness. And for Quentin Tornado, to label him as what he did, disrespectful, ridiculous, get a life. And I think you owe Bruce Lee's daughter, not only daughter, but mother, an apology. Bruce Lee's wife, apology. The man wasn't an a-hole. And I'm for damn sure if he meant to be that way, was only because people were probably, doing things that they wanted to do, trying to change his way, or didn't want to understand and listen to him, and just wanted to be reckless and think they could just whoop his ass. They should have just took the stunts, did what they were to do, and kept their mouths shut, not try and be tough guy and think they can whoop everybody's ass because everybody thinks that's what Bruce Lee was all about. Or I could whoop anybody's ass. Yeah, he could do it with his Jeet Kune Do. But, you know what? It was only to teach you what he could do. That was it. Not to teach you that he was the toughest guy in the world. He was only trying to teach of what he can do, and it was a little bit better than any kind of martial arts that was out there. That's it. That's all he was doing. He wasn't trying to be the tough guy of the world. He just wanted to make something new, something that could bring everybody together and learn. And that was it. That's the way I looked at Bruce Lee anyways. Can't speak for everybody, but that's the way I thought it was. That's the way I think of it as. He just wanted to be his own, do his own, teach his own. That's it. Nothing more. And he ain't no different than anybody that brings their cultural food over here, a cultural, clothing over here, a cultural stuff that they want you to see that they used to have, remedies and, all kinds of stuff they bring here and they share now. This ain't all about friggin' how the world needs to, this is how the world needs to be. Bruce Lee style. No more wars. No more, hey you, get out of here. You know what? It's a country of opportunity, and if you do it legally, then that's right. That's how it should be. And that's what Bruce Lee did. He did it legally, and he wanted to just share his knowledge. And that's what he did. So, moment of silence for the man himself. Huge respect to Bruce Lee's daughter. I'm with you 100%. Bruce Lee's wife, 100%. Nobody should be trash mouthing anybody, calling them what they thought they were back in the day. Because, right, times have changed. Times were different, is right. And if they didn't understand them and they got pissed off and pissed him off, well, hey, he only wants to bring perfection to his work and to his fighting and to his skills and bring it to the people to show, teach, whatever. And that was it. That's it. Any sensei will tell you that or do that. Because they want you to be not abusing their culture either. So, whatever. You know what? I'm not a fan of Quentin Quarantine, or whatever the hell his name is no more. What little movies he did I like? Nah, whatever. You call Bruce Lee an asshole? Whoosh, see you later, buddy. Lost the fan. Till the next video, be safe, take care. Out.